Everyone knows about Jake Paul's transformation from a blogger to a boxer. But many do not appreciate his achievements in the ring. Today we're going to talk about 5 moments when he shocked the world in the ring. 5th place. Let's start with his debut against KSI's younger brother Deji. You ask, what's shocking here? Well, let's start with the fact that Deji, from a technical point of view, is the best YouTube boxer. On the channel there's a detailed analysis of his technique. We recommend you watch. The difference in technique was noticeable at the beginning of the fight. In fact, Jake lost a round and a half. Deji skillfully attacked, which eventually broke Paul's nose. Despite the gap in points, lack of skill, and a broken nose, Jake did not give up. For both bloggers, this was the first experience in the ring. The first fight is difficult for everyone because of fatigue, and it'll be doubly hard when a person has a broken nose. But despite this, it was cardio that was Jake's trump card. Somehow he didn't get nervous and managed to keep the pace of the fight, while Deji was noticeably tired by the end of round 2. Paul's constant, methodical attacks completely exhausted his opponent. Deji could no longer attack and was just looking for a way to survive to the end of the fight. However, Paul's pace was too high and Deji's corner threw in the towel. Before that, Jake Paul was known as an ignorant loudmouth person. But this evening, he shocked everyone. He showed that despite all this, he has the character of a real fighter, and even injuries will not be a reason to give up. 4th place. If you have questions, you can go to my personal Instagram. Link in the description. On this place, we will talk about Paul's first professional fight. He proved that he had character, but it was noticeable that he had something to work on in terms of technique. It's doubly hard to show good technique against an awkward fighter like Gib. And Neeson is known for his constant movement and very high pace of the fight. He constantly presses and exhausts his opponents. So, as with Deji, Jake will not be able to simply exhaust his opponent. Against Gib, you need to box well and be able to work comfortably as a second number. That's what shocked in Paul. He had very fast progress, and in the second boxing match in his life, he showed really good technique. He moved around a lot, took the role as number 2, and kept Gib at the end of his jab. And when the opportunity arose, he accurately counterattacked with the rear hand. As a result, a knockout in the first round and a complete D-class of the opponent. That evening, Jake managed to eclipse his older brother in terms of boxing achievements and surprise everyone with rapid advances in technique. And where do you think Jake was able to surpass Logan? Write in the comments. 3rd place. Jake has already defeated influencers and even knocked them down. How else to shock the world? How about knocking out a world-class athlete? Nate Robinson is one of the most unique athletes in the world. Despite his height, he has played in the best basketball league in the world, the NBA, for many years, and even became the winner of the dunk contest despite his height. Speed, strength, reflexes, and experience of performing on big stages are on Nate's side. From the moment of stare down, it is noticeable how much Robinson is physically superior to Jake. This was reflected in the fight. In the first minutes, despite the nervousness of both fighters, Robinson looked much faster. Both fighters were connecting with punches, after which they clinched, where Jake learned to effectively exhaust the opponent's hands. By the end of the first round, it was noticeable that Nate's rapid, explosive actions were reflected in his cardio. Now, his rapid distance cutting became more noticeable, thanks to which Paul was able to knock him down. And in the second round, he finished the job.
Good night, Irene. Oh, Lord! Mamma mia, the problem child proving to be a big problem!
Shockingly knocking out Nate Robinson. At a time when COVID had taken down many jobs and plunged the world into depression, Jake Paul found a way to ignite his boxing star even more vividly with a knockout that shocked the world. 2nd place. You have already noticed that in this video, with every place, stakes are growing. So here we will talk about the punch that knocked out the champion of the UFC. In his first fight against former UFC champion Tyron Woodley, Jake won by decision. However, that victory was overshadowed by Tyron's punch, a strike that nearly knocked Jake out. To Paul's credit, he recovered and took the subsequent rounds. but there was a sense that against a serious fighter, he would get knocked out. Therefore, the next challenge for the American was Tommy Fury, the brother of the legendary heavyweight champion Tyson Fury. However, Tommy pulled out from the fight, and Tyron Woodley came on as a substitute and gave us this gem about Moon.
Why isn't Moon out right now? It makes me want to just fucking go crazy.
Actually, to that point,
that is odd that Moon is out.
I actually
Hit like if you have some similar thoughts about the Moon. A rematch that was supposed to put an end to whether that punch was luck or whether Jake was lucky enough to be near the ropes and survive. On the night of the fight, many forgot about this and in general about the first fight. The rematch was not spectacular at all. The crowd was thinking about leaving the arena. As if out of nowhere, Jake Paul delivers a powerful punch that knocks down the former champion of the UFC. It is worth noting that this is the first time in Woodley's life that he was KO'd with one blow. This punch shocked Woodley, everyone in the arena, and the whole world.
Time to time, just step into the.
Why isn't Moon out right now?
But what happened in Paul's career that surpassed that powerful knockout? First place. At the moment, the main shocking moment in Jake Paul's career is his fight against Ben Askren. After all, before this fight, no one expected that Jake would want to fight against real fighters. He's fought only influencers and athletes. But a fight with a fighter is a completely different matter. Although Askren was not a good striker, he had good cardio and knew how to take damage. The fact that the only time in his life he was knocked out is by Masvidal's knee says a lot. Therefore, the opinions of many experts agreed that Ben would simply survive the early storm and simply exhaust Paul. But on the day of the fight, everything was completely different. Ben did not even have time to warm up, as his Jake Paul knocked him out. It was at this point that even Jake's haters began to take his path in boxing seriously. Because of that, you should subscribe to this channel. He did it so easily and without coercion that many people began to get interested in his next fight, which is why the knockout of Ben Askren shocked the whole world. Do you think Jake will be able to shock everyone again in a fight with Anderson Silva? By the way, if you are a fighter or a YouTube boxer, write to us if you want us to analyze your technique or the technique of your opponent.